Hi, this is Mark Laughlin with Ambidextrous Gunfighter. I got a new holster from Forge Tech for the KelTec P17. Now, I can say right up front, it's probably the best holster made for the P17 because, as best I can tell, it's the only holster that I've been able to find for the P17. But it looks to be a really good quality built holster. It's set up to where you could actually drill some more holes and end up with a, swap it from left to right or whatever. And it's got good retention. It's adjustable retention, of course. And one thing I thought maybe I would like would be to make it so that when you got the safety switch on, the safety selector on, that when you put it in the holster, it basically maybe there's a little tab or something in the holster that would lock it and absolutely prevent that thing from coming off. Because this KelTec PF9 has such it's a 3-pound light trigger that it would be nice to make sure that that safety is secured when holstered. Is this little round spot down here, so that's good to index your index finger on and for drawing. And then also with this combat kind of loop that kind of clips on, you can actually use that with your thumb to press off of that to actually, if you wanted to kind of silently disengage the holster, you could do that and then draw. So today I'm going to do a drill which I kind of call my musician's drill. Now musicians, what they do when they practice their profession is that they do everything like at 1/10 speed. They play their instrument at speeds that are so slow that you can't even tell what they're playing, but they try to make it perfect. So what I'm going to do is go through a drill from contact distance back to seeking cover, getting off the X kind of thing. But I'm going to do it really slow. So this might be kind of a boring video, but to me this gets you way more muscle memory kind of thing, and it also kind of imprints in your brain how this should actually be happening. So whether I'm doing this right by the standards of how you believe handgun fighting should be done, or if you agree with my kind of Rex Applegate inspired ambidextrous gunfighter technique, I think doing these really slow drills is a good way to practice. So let's give it a start here. I'm going to first chamber around on my P17. I have the safety on, so I'm going to index my finger and slowly insert it into my holster. Okay, so now I'm at basically kind of at contact distance. I got the camera a little bit closer to me than the target is, but just so that I can move back. Okay, so here we are at contact distance. Now, if you know, I'm an advocate not only for being ambidextrous, but for once you're ambidextrous and you're completely able to shoot left and right equally, then I switch to left hand primary carry and presentation. And the reasons for that are just real quickly. One is that usually you can fight better. Most people are going to fight with their right hand or defend with their right hand, or maybe deflect a knife with their right hand. And so this hand is likely to get injured. And so that leaves your left hand for the gunfighting part of this whole thing. So that's my theory, okay? And then the other thing is left hand primary for motorcyclists. It allows you can operate your motorcycle with your right hand on the throttle and the front brake and still shoot from a motorcycle. Also for law enforcement, being left-handed when you approach on a traffic stop, coming up to the driver's side of window of the vehicle, left hand has a better angle on that driver's side window than the right hand. So better angle left hand for law enforcement. Okay, so let's do this really slow. First, you've got a round chambered, slowly holster the weapon. Okay, now threat. Hand up, fight, deflect, whatever. Now I'm using my thumb to help break the pistol from the holster. Draw, come up. As I get to kind of the low ready position, click the safety off. Come up from the hip. Now I'm going to start moving back, and I'm going to switch to the two-handed hold. And now I want to start, you know, at this point I should be thinking about getting off the X. Now usually to get off the X, it's tempting to want to move to the right. A lot of people for some reason want to do that. Now what you want to keep in mind is that if that guy has a gun and he's shooting at me, he's probably a pretty shitty marksman. And a lot of people, if he's right-handed, a lot of people when they shoot, they tend to pull low and to the left. And so for them, that would be towards your right. So you don't want to move that way generally unless there's really good cover that way. So I'm going to begin shifting more over to the right. And seek cover. Okay, let's do that again. Slow motion. Safety on. Just take our time. Index the trigger finger. Holster the weapon. Stand ready position. Now a lot of people are doing this whole thing with the stopwatch. You know, they've got their timers, your stopwatch timers, or shot timers and all that. I think that's mostly 90% useless. I think working on this at very slow speeds is better, because when you get the adrenaline dump, you're going to accelerate anyway. And what you want is to do things kind of perfectly. And by practicing slow and perfectly, it'll translate when the adrenaline dump heads into faster performance. And then also the emphasis on stopwatches makes you not really focus on optimal use of cover. And that's number one rule in gunfighting, is don't get shot. So you want to seek cover, you want to make optimal use of cover. That's being ambidextrous is one key part of that. So let's do this again. Okay, so from ready, threat, fight, draw, slowly draw, come up. I'm at the 40, at low ready, gonna hip shoot, safety off. Got to do the crouch, because in a life-threatening situation, it's instinctive for the body to crouch. So I'm using this hand kind of to balance myself, catch myself if need be. Now I'm point shooting at the target from the retention position. Hits are good enough. Now I begin moving back, and I can switch perhaps at this point to two-handed hold, still point shooting, even though because I'm focusing on the threat. Get off the X. Seek cover. Switch hands. Okay, let's try this from a different angle. I'm going to try to work around my wired microphone here. So again, we're doing the slow motion drill. Have a pistol. We do a chamber check. We have a round in the chamber. Safety on. Index the trigger finger. Come in. Holster. Making sure you don't get your finger between the trigger and the holster. Now we're at just a casual ready position. Someone has insulted me and say, "Oh, your wife sucks dick." Now, is that something I'm going to draw a pistol on? No, I'm going to be like, man, I'm sorry you think that, and de-escalate and leave. The only time you need to be actually going to draw a pistol is if your life's in threat. And one of the indicators of that is if you're experiencing that physiological response, that target focus, auditory exclusion, crouch, coarse muscle control. Those are kind of some clues. Maybe your life is in danger. So you see a threat, guy's coming at you with a knife, you're going to deflect. We're going to do crouch. That's going to be our instinctive response to a threat. Eyes are going to be focused on the target. Auditory exclusion. Ears are going to be focused on hearing what is coming from that threat. Now we're going to draw the pistol slowly here. Come up. We're at the low ready retention position. I'm going to click the safety off on this little P17 KelTec and point shoot at the target. 2 shots. Now I'm going to start moving back off the X. I can extend the hand out. I'm still point shooting. Now I may want to switch to cover. I'm going to switch to right hand. Notice I'm shifting to the left side, because if he has a weapon, most likely he sucks at it, at shooting it. And he's going to pull low and to his left, which is our right. So I'm going here to get behind cover. Now I'm switching to two-handed hold. Safety on, drill's complete. Slowly holster, take your time, don't shoot yourself. Okay, let's try this, giving you a rear view, unfortunately in my rear, but a rear view of kind of what's going on here in my slow motion, my musician's drill as I call it. And so we're going to start again. We have our KelTec P17 and our Forged Tec holster. Great holster, I really like it. It sits close enough to the body, off enough where I can get it, get my thumb in behind it to kind of help unholster it. So it's really good value in a holster for the P17. It's probably, as far as I know, the only one. So I'll put a link in the description. Go check it out. Get yourself a P17 and a Forged Tec holster. Okay, so we're going to start from contact range. Now the guy says, hey, your wife sucks dick or something, you know, you suck cock. I'm like, dude, yeah, you're probably right. I really suck cock hard. So yeah, I'm sorry that I'm an embarrassment to mankind. De-escalate, out of there. Now here's the situation. The guy's coming at you with a gun or a knife. So now we're switching to, we're already feel threatened, our life is threatened. We're going into a crouch. That's instinctive. Eyes are focused on the target. Auditory exclusion, focused on the target. Hands coming up, deflect the weapon, knife, gun, whatever. We're unholstering here. I'm coming up out of the holster. As I get to the low ready position from retention, I click the safety off, get the hand out to the side for balance. I'm point shooting from the hip, retention, 2 hits right to his chest. Now I'm starting to get off the X. I come back and I'm still point shooting. Still eyes are focused on the target, auditory exclusion. I'm still crouched because I'm scared shitless. Another shot, point shooting, almost bullseye hit here. Now I'm going to move off the X and seek cover. Now we're pretending here's a counter here, so I'm going to get down behind the counter. All slow. And then reholster, slow and careful. There's no rush on this. Don't be so stopwatch freaking focused. Focus on moving precisely and perfectly in practice. Now at some point you can speed it up a bit, but remember the key thing is not how fast you move around this, moving from one piece of pretend cover to another piece of pretend cover, but how well you make use of that cover. Burst of speed to get from cover to cover is good. Burst maintaining speed as you're shooting from cover is not good. You want to switch. Maybe you have to shoot from left side from cover at one point. Switch to right side. Just don't do it though as fast as you can. Sometimes you want to stay behind cover for a bit. Maybe you need to reload, deal with malfunctions or something or whatever. You just don't want to be too predictable behind cover. That's something you learn in paintball. You want to, movement is key. Get off the X. Look at flanking your opponent. Remember, the opponent's not going to just stand there like this frickin' target. Once your first shots come off, he's going to be moving off the X too, presumably. He doesn't want to get shot any more than you do. And he's going to be suffering the exact same physiological response once you start putting rounds on him that you are due to his threat. He's going to crouch. He's going to have that coarse motor control. He's going to, and his heart rate's going to go way up. He's going to have auditory exclusion and tunnel vision on you. And that's one of the key things for you to do, is to induce that physiological response in him. Even if I don't get hits on him, which I did, all the hits were on moving really slow, it's kind of easy. But even if I don't get hits on him, shots in his general direction are gonna induce that physiological response in him. And again, he's gonna, that physiological response, the human physiological response to a threat is crouch, reducing your target size, also establishing a stable fighting position. So that's instinctive, so work with that. The other thing is your eyes are gonna focus directly on the threat. You're not going to be looking, you know, everything else around is going to just like fade away, the tunnel vision on the threat, total focus on the threat. So that's why you're not going to be looking at that RMR red dot. You're not going to be looking at the front sight focus thing. It's going to be threat focused, and you better have the training to where when you bring your pistol up, it's point shooting. Basically, that's almost instinctive, is the ability to point your finger at anything, and it's easy enough to do at a threat as well. So this is Mark Laughlin with the Ambidextrous Gunfighter. Hope this little drill, hope you find it useful and you can practice it and do it your own way with your own techniques. But I think the musician's drill, where you're slowing things way down to achieve perfection and not focusing so much on this stopwatch, I think that's pretty important in my opinion. Also, I want to thank Forge Tech for making a terrific holster for the KelTec P17. This is such a great pistol, a lot of fun to shoot, very rapid fire capability, ability to put multiple hits on target at 2 or 3 times the rate of a 9mm. So if that kind of sounds, maybe that's an interesting, maybe the 22 is not completely useless for self-defense, be sure and check out my other video on 9mm versus 22. It's Mark Laughlin with the Ambidextrous Gunfighter. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.